Sourdough. This is one of the oldest breads still made today, originating thousands of years ago, before commercial yeast even existed. It is made using a natural starter, which is a mixture of flour and water that ferments over time and collects wild yeast from the air. The result is a chewy, thick-crusted loaf with a slightly tangy flavor that comes entirely from that fermentation process. Sourdough is closely associated with San Francisco, where the local wild yeast gives the bread a particularly sharp taste, but versions of it exist across many cultures worldwide. Baguette. France gave the world this long, thin, golden loaf that has become one of the most recognized breads on the planet. The crust is crisp and crackles when you break it, while the inside stays soft and airy. French law actually defines how a traditional baguette must be made, limiting the ingredients to flour, water, salt, and yeast. It is eaten fresh, often the same day it is baked, and is a daily staple in French households. People carry it under their arms on the street without a bag, and that image alone has become a symbol of French life. Naan. This soft, lightly charred flatbread comes from South and Central Asia and has been a kitchen staple across India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Iran for centuries. It is made with white flour and leavened with yeast or yogurt, then slapped directly onto the inner wall of a tandoor, a clay oven that reaches extremely high heat. That direct contact with the oven wall gives naan its signature bubbled surface and slightly smoky flavor. It is used to scoop up curries, dals, and grilled meats, making it as much a utensil as it is a food. Pita. This round, pocket-forming flatbread has been a cornerstone of Middle Eastern and Mediterranean cuisine for thousands of years. When pita bakes at high heat, steam builds up inside the dough and causes it to puff up like a balloon, creating a hollow pocket in the center as it cools. That pocket is what makes pita so useful for stuffing with falafel, grilled meat, vegetables, and sauces. It is also torn and used for dipping into hummus and other spreads. Simple in ingredients but clever in structure, pita remains one of the most practical breads ever made. Rye bread.
Rye bread. Northern and Eastern Europe developed a strong tradition around rye bread, particularly in countries like Germany, Denmark, Sweden, Russia, and Poland. Rye grain grows well in colder climates where wheat struggles, which is why this bread became so central to those regions. It is denser than wheat bread, darker in color, and has an earthy, slightly sour flavor. The German version, called pumpernickel, is made from whole rye berries and baked at a very low temperature for an extremely long time, giving it an almost black color and a deep, complex taste. Rye bread also keeps fresh longer than most other breads. Injera. Ethiopia and Eritrea are home to this large, spongy flatbread that serves as both a plate and an eating utensil at the same time. It is made from teff, a tiny ancient grain native to the Horn of Africa, and the batter is fermented for several days before cooking. The result is a wide, thin, slightly sour bread covered in small holes on its surface, which are perfect for soaking up stews and sauces. A meal is typically served by laying a large injera on a shared platter, topping it with various dishes, and eating by tearing off pieces to scoop up the food. Ciabatta. Italy introduced ciabatta to the world in the 1980s, making it a surprisingly modern bread despite feeling like a timeless classic. The name means slipper in Italian, which refers to its flat, elongated shape. What makes ciabatta unusual is its extremely wet dough, which gives the finished bread a very open, hole-filled interior and a thin, crispy crust. It was actually created as an Italian answer to the French baguette, which had become popular in Italy at the time. Today, ciabatta is used worldwide for sandwiches and paninis because its structure holds fillings well without falling apart. Brioche. France is also the birthplace of brioche, a bread that sits comfortably between bread and pastry. It is enriched with a generous amount of butter and eggs, which gives it a soft, golden crumb, a slightly sweet flavor, and a tender texture that pulls apart its soft layers. Because of its richness, brioche is used for both savory and sweet purposes. It appears as hamburger buns in upscale restaurants, as the base for French toast, and as a standalone pastry in French bakeries. The high fat content means it stays soft longer than most breads. Tortilla. Mexico and Central America built an entire food culture around the tortilla, a thin, round flatbread that has existed since ancient Mesoamerican civilizations. Corn tortillas are made from masa, a dough produced by treating dried corn with an alkaline solution, a process called nixtamalization that unlocks more nutrients in the grain.
Focaccia. This thick, olive oil-rich flatbread from Italy, particularly from the Liguria region, is baked in a flat pan and dimpled on the surface before going into the oven. Those dimples hold pools of olive oil and whatever toppings are pressed into the dough, commonly rosemary, sea salt, olives, or tomatoes. The bread bakes up with a crispy bottom and edges while staying soft and pillowy in the center. Focaccia is considered an ancestor of pizza, and the two share similar dough techniques. It is eaten on its own, used as sandwich bread, or served alongside meals. Bagel. Eastern European Jewish communities developed the bagel centuries ago, and immigrants brought it to New York City in the late 1800s, where it became a defining food of the city. What separates a bagel from other bread rolls is its process. The shaped dough ring is boiled in water before it is baked, which gives the crust its distinctive chewiness and shiny surface. Traditional New York bagels are boiled in water with a little malt syrup and baked in a very hot oven. They are sliced and loaded with cream cheese, smoked salmon, or other toppings. And the debate over which city makes the best bagel has never fully been settled. Challah. Jewish communities across Europe developed challah as a ceremonial bread tied to the Sabbath and other religious holidays. It is made with eggs, oil, and a small amount of sugar, which gives it a soft, slightly sweet interior and a beautiful golden crust. The most recognizable feature of challah is its braided shape, which is formed by weaving 3 or more strands of dough together before baking. The number of braids can carry symbolic meaning depending on the occasion. Challah is eaten at the start of Shabbat meals and has also become popular beyond Jewish households because of its rich flavor and soft texture. Lavash. This paper-thin flatbread stretches across a wide region from Armenia and Turkey to Iran and the Caucasus, and its history goes back at least 3,000 years. UNESCO recognized Armenian lavash as an intangible cultural heritage, acknowledging how deeply it is tied to the identity and daily life of the region. Traditional lavash is baked by pressing large sheets of thin dough against the inside wall of a clay oven called a tonir. It comes out crisp at first, but softens when exposed to moisture, making it flexible enough to wrap around meats and herbs. Dried lavash can also be stored for months and rehydrated when needed. Pretzel bread. Germany is the origin of the pretzel, a baked bread product that gets its distinctive dark brown crust and chewy texture from being dipped in a lye solution before baking. Pretzel bread. Germany is the origin of the pretzel, a baked bread product that gets its distinctive dark brown crust and chewy texture from being dipped in a lye solution before baking. The alkaline bath causes a chemical reaction on the surface of the dough that creates that signature color and slightly bitter, salty taste. Soft pretzels are a major street food in Bavaria and are traditionally served at beer festivals. The hard, crunchy pretzel snack, common worldwide, is simply a smaller, fully dried version. The knot shape of the traditional pretzel is said to represent arms folded in prayer, linking it to centuries of European religious tradition. Cornbread. The American South made cornbread into a culinary institution, though its roots go back to Native American communities who had been cooking with ground corn long before European settlers arrived. It is made primarily with cornmeal rather than wheat flour, which gives it a crumbly, dense texture and a naturally sweet, earthy flavor. Cornbread is baked in a cast iron skillet, a square pan, or formed into small rounds called corn muffins. In the South, it is served alongside barbecue, beans, and grains, and the ongoing debate between sweet Northern-style cornbread and savory Southern-style cornbread is one that neither side is likely to concede.